Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allow you to record and edit your podcast so it sounds great. They'll even distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and many more. You can easily make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Awesome, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of It Is What It Is podcast. You know what today it is. It is Monday, so it is time for the show. You can connect with me on all streaming platforms. You see the banner below, YouTube at CV Space K. Look, I have Kojic reports, and if you want me to keep making these reports, you have to subscribe below, or the Church of God in Christ will not see me. I appreciate my guest today. I'm so excited. We have an amazing episode dealing with the best romantic comedy movies of all time. So I invited some just cool people and another guest that will be on shortly. I have none other than Bishop Apostle Prophet David Standberry.
I don't want that name. You know that cost.
Who does?
Give me the $100 as a licensed minister. I'm good.
Good to hear. Now, also I have with us Lady Spencer. I got it right. I had the First Lady episode. They checked me a bunch of times between Sabrina and everybody else. So I have with us the First Lady, soon to be First Lady of the let me not say that. This soon to be Lady.
Yes,
how you doing, Lady Spencer?
The name on my birth certificate. So
right. See.
All right, cool. So you know what time it is. We're talking about the best romantic comedy movies. I'm a huge fan of romantic comedy movies. I'm a huge fan of comedy, period. And we've had some iconic movies. So for me, the best romantic comedy movie of all time is none other than Boomerang. And I'm going to explain to you why, and we're going to get into this debate. So if you can see, this is why it's the best romantic comedy movie of all time. You see these two? These are GOATs. First GOAT, Eddie Murphy. Second GOAT, Halle Berry. All-star team, all-star movie, all-star cast. Let's talk about the cast, right? Eddie, Halle, Robin Givens, Martin Lawrence, David Alan Grier, John Witherspoon, Lela Rochon, Grace Jones, Eartha Kitt, and even Chris Rock, like young Chris Rock, before New Jack City Pookie Chris Rock. This is when it all kind of happened. This is an amazing cast, an amazing wealth of talent. I don't think any other movie has rivaled this depth of talent that actually worked. There's been a lot of movies who've tried it, but the synergy just wasn't there. And to me, they just put it all together. I got a little clip for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Hope this plays.
Don't stop that. You gotta keep going.
All right, that's enough. I don't want to get in trouble. It starts getting wild after that. And I don't want to have to make any apologies or repent for anybody. But that's why there are so many classic films, so many classic lines. I think Boomerang has, to me, the all-time best classic material. I think hands down, you can't argue another movie when it comes to the plot. It comes to the characters. It comes to just the funny moments and even a real love story between or really a triangle, really, right? Between Eddie Murphy's character, between Robin Givens, and between Halle Berry. And Halle Berry actually being the second woman. Like, it's wild. Like, I don't even think something like that can happen. Also, welcome to the show. We have evangelist, prophetess Jacqueline Standberry. God bless you on today. Welcome to the show. You just missed my intro.
I'm sorry if you
Let's start there. I'm gonna start with you, Jasmine. Jasmine, first of all, what did you think of Boomerang? And then what is your pick for the best romantic comedy movie?
see, I like Boomerang for all the points that you listed, except for when you get to the part about the whole love story thing. Because the way I look at them, I'm like, why do we always have that like struggle love? Like, even with people picking like Love and Basketball, like the story, the premise of it, it's great. Like when you're in high school, that whole kind of, oh, I finally married the person I'm with. But then like I watched that maybe like last year, and I'm like, this whole no, I can't. Like, maybe that's just my age talking now that I'm over 30. So me looking at them differently, I wouldn't pick a favorite. I'd pick some that I enjoy. And I'd be between like Napoli Ever After on Netflix and then Jumped in Bronx. And the reason I say those is because it's more the whole the love story in it was a little more rounded, as opposed to like, I gotta wait for him to get his act together, or she gotta grow up and she, all of that typical, like, give me a real life story. And then that's kind of where I went with that.
I mean, but it wasn't like Boomerang's not like a struggle. I mean, it
wasn't a struggle, but it was just like, this is like a typical man. Like, at what point, like, it's just like, when does he grow up? Like, that's the part. And it was like, it took you to go through this, and then you end up in a relationship with Halle Berry. So we're thinking you got it together, but then not really, because your boy was kind of talking to her. Well, let's not even get into that. So, and you start with this, and then all it took was one more time for you to even just be in her presence.
Right. And
then boom, you fell back down in the same road. And then you're just like, well, I don't know what happened. One moment we were there and the meeting went well. And then I just, and everybody's favorite line, love should have brought you home last night. Like, for real, you can't, like, when do we stop throwing the word around and then really looking at what it means before we use it? And that's the kind of struggle I have with it, but I do enjoy it. I definitely watched it the other night.
That makes sense. I mean, sometimes you have to talk. I mean, they weren't married, talking to your friends.
Right.
I mean, I would never do that. You know what I'm saying? I have respect for my movies. I've never done that.
But you at least would ask, what is it really with, But other than that, I enjoyed it.
David, what are your thoughts? Thoughts about Boomerang, and then what is your best romantic movie?
Well, I had two that I had actually dissected. Think about Boomerang. Sometimes I realized that this person was standing in front of you all along while you was trying to play the field, and you had people like either Eartha Kitt, Grace Jones, all of them was up in there that wanted him and everything. But it was almost, to me, him playing the same part he played in Coming to America. The similarity is he had to come to America to, as his father say, sow his royal oaks and stuff like that. So all along, the people that he was trying to get with, or the people try to hook him up with, he already knew who he wanted. In Boomerang, it was too much like Jasmine, just to piggyback on what she said about when is the time you're gonna grow up. It's like, you're an older man. I guess it's different for me too, because I'm over 50. So the thing about it is, it's like, okay, it's a time and a place now. It's time for you to grow up. Like she said, it's too much of him doing high school stuff. Even when they was at the office, it was high school stuff, going out to lunch, and they was like sometimes downgraded women and stuff when it came to certain situations.
Yeah.
And to me, that was a turnoff, and I felt that Eddie Murphy was more of the older adult than the other two, than Martin Lawrence and the other ones. He should be more of the role model of, okay, this is how you should treat women. And then you have to look at You sleeping with Robin Givens, then, or you slept with somebody before, and then you looked at her toes, and her toes was a hot mess. Then you sleep with Robin Givens, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the person, but that's not the person you still should have been with. So I think it was more of the person of Robin Givens being more of the, how can you put it, different from Halle Berry. And Halle Berry was trying to tell him in the office, you're looking for love in the wrong places, all of the wrong places. And like I say, Halle Berry been standing there all alone. But then they start dating, and then he still couldn't get this plan out of his mind. He kept on doing his thing. Now you with Halle, and now you trying to play her and still do what you was doing. Like they said in the movie, love would have brought you home.
That makes sense. I mean, I would never kick any woman out for corns on their feet. That
Yeah.
I'm simple like that. Auntie Jackie, thoughts on Boomerang?
Yes, sir.
Thoughts on Boomerang?
Well, let me tell you. Let me give it to you straight, okay? So you got your guys there that's pumping you on. The reason why I believe he wanted Robin Givens in the beginning was because of her status quo. She was this big professional person, and she had a lot to offer. Where Halle was just your average girl, your friend. She was in the friend zone. And then he realized one day, hey, she's a sweet girl. When he got to know her, he automatically, she was in the friend zone. Now, when you think about it, he had bragging rights because of the character that Robert Givens played. She was this dynamic person. Every man wanted her literally. And he was like, hey, I'm with this girl. But he forgot that just like, you put all your into it, not because you got to know her, it's because that everybody wanted. Sometimes we want people that everybody want, but yet that doesn't make us happy. Say for instance, the girl gets the guy, he has all the attributes that she looked for in a man, and every girl, he's fine. You love when women tell you that about your man or your significant other, and so this what I think that Eddie Murphy literally, went for her because she was the head of the company and things of that nature. So I think he was looking for bragging rights, but yet he had Halle Berry in the friend zone. Then when he had a good day and they were in a moment, they were enjoying it, and their flesh took over. And so he started dealing with her based upon that moment, and he never really got a chance to know her until realized, when he going back and forth with Robin Givens, that's not what he really wanted. And he wanted the simple things, somebody that can love him, past all of his playboy ways, if you will, and all those other things. But that is so true to life. That's a good movie, but that's not my favorite love movie.
Well, let's talk about it. What is your favorite love movie?
Okay. Now, without telling my age, I loved Mahogany with Billy D. Williams and Diana Ross. I love that one. But I also love Love and Basketball. I love that movie.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite love movies. And then, of course, Love Jones.
With Lorenz Tate.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's when Councilman Tate was halfway conservative. He's wilding out right now. So
he was cool then.
and Nia Long. Oh man. Let's talk about David. What are the do's and the don'ts, right? Like I've seen the romantic comedy genre kind of expand. I think all the movies from Love Jones, I even remember the one with Billy D. Williams, right? Mahogany. There were certain core features, but there was a class to it, right? Like now I feel like with romantic comedies, it's a little raunchy. It's a little like, oh, I didn't see that coming, or whoa, I don't want to be watching this in front of all these strangers. Like it's just a lot. Wife and I went to go see About last night. I'm a huge Kevin Hart fan. I remember when it came out, but there was a lot that I just did not see coming. And at the end of it, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna watch this too many times. It wasn't that it wasn't a great film. It was too much of one thing that to me took away from the film. So what are some of those do's and don'ts, David?
If we want to get biblical about it, say do unto others as you have men to do unto you. So it's certain things that just in a relationship that we have to identify. The first thing is respect. Yeah. And that's the first thing is respect. And then after respect is communication. Because without communication, your mind runs off doing other things that you have no business doing. So that keeps you, if you have communication with your significant others, there's ground rules, there's respect, there's the things to do and not to do. Right. For example, when I was dating, and this was brought up because still a church kid, sure. was a PK kid, and being in a minister's house all my life, that's all we knew was church and all this stuff. And it was easy for my father to teach us, which my mom had all boys, to teach how to respect women. Examples that my father showed us, things that he did with my mother, opened up the doors, let out the chair. These the days and times now when I call myself open the door for another female or whatever, they don't even say thank you. They don't say anything. They just like you owe it to them. Or if you taking the person's chair out, they don't say thank you. So it's the values and the things that my father taught us. And it was easy for me to date over the years before I got married, is to date that one person. Yeah. Don't be a playboy. Don't think you can have this person here and have that person there. And we allow ourselves to date people that's in the church. So now you dating her. Now much as our churches always fellowship with other churches. And you get to that other church and you're gonna be like, oh, there she go. Oh my God, how am I gonna get out of this one? So that stuck with me over the years. So the thing about when I got married, it's easy to stay married, communicate, and do those things. Mm-hmm. And it's been almost 27 years for me in marriage. Yes. And you still getting to know that person. People like, you been married long, you don't know your wife yet? No, because things still comes out about your spouse over the years it has given. So much is given. They say you gotta give and receive at the same time. I give to my wife, she gives to me, but sometimes you find yourself giving more in order to keep that relationship the way it needs to be. I don't know how other people are, I try to keep my relationship the way it needs to be. Sure. So that's the do and the don't as far as my relationship is being rooted and grounded in that I was taught growing up. And the do's and the don't is don't go out doing something that you don't have no business doing. That's a don't. So after a while, you're going to get caught.
Sure. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Lady Spencer, when you and the Right Reverend Matthew are on your dates, right, and you decide to pick a movie and you're like, hey, Brown Sugar, Love and Basketball, The Best Man 1 and 2. What separates those from the other? Is it that the fact that all the same actors are in it, so it's kind of hard because Taye Diggs is everybody or Morris Chestnut is the same person? How do you make that choice?
I don't know. The biggest thing would be how do I feel in the moment? Do I feel like having a discussion after we watch this? Like, let's say if we do The Best Man. Do I feel like going into that conversation after the fact? So, like, which one of them was really wrong, though?
Oh, the first one?
The first one. So even though Lance was doing this thing, he was the football player, he was doing this thing, like, but I still got her. I know she's loyal to me. Yeah. She's not going to say the line he ended up saying, but, he said what was good. So, but then you have Mia. And even though it was the one time with Harper, which one was really worse though? Because she picked up. So do I feel like going down that road, or do I just want to be like, okay, no, we'll just sit and enjoy it? Like David was saying with the communication, sometimes things you'll pick up on things and it'll spark a conversation, and you'll be like, so what do you think about that? And then it helps you really pick that person's brain even further, because people change. Even in the short time that it's just been us, even in that time, I know my mindset on how relationships go, the communication of it, just what you should bring to the table, how you should look at it, that lens, it's ever evolving. One, because you have different movies to spark the conversation. Mm-hmm. Two, you're living with somebody and they're different they could wake up and be a completely different person. If they had a rough day at work, if they got the wrong phone call, if it's close to the time for the rent to be due, both of y'all are going to be different people. So, stuff changes. So you have to learn how to adapt in that moment. So it's just kind of like, even with the movies, like, so which road do I want to go down? And if it's like none of them, like, you know what? We're going to watch Avengers. We're going to keep it simple.
Just keep it simple. Look, I like those movies that spark conversation. First of all, I don't think Mia was wrong. I mean, I think Lance kind of deserved that. And I'm gonna defend Harper on this. Harper was justified. His boy. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I probably would have done the same thing Harper would have done. That's just speaking for me.
But would you put it in a book and made it like my thing with him was like, even if you gonna put it out there like that with the book, like you got it. So all they had to do was really read it, and they was like, oh, wait a minute. And
right.
I mean, you could have been a little more kind of discreet with it, like something.
That was his only mistake. He just wrote about it.
That was, I mean,
quiet about it. Because I don't care what because I thought Mia was justified. It's just like in Acrimony, I thought old girl was wrong. I'm sorry. I thought Taraji was OC in that movie. So
she was crazy.
She was crazy. Let's talk about kind of what is missing. That dialogue piece. And Jazz, we'll go to you, and then David, you, and then Auntie Jackie, you.
In general, or
well, I think what's missing is that I think great writers can create conversation that follows, right? Like no matter what the movie is about, if it doesn't lead to anything other than okay, we just went to the movies, I think like that's where the failure is, right? And I've seen examples of good ones, and I've seen examples of not so good ones, right? I think the Love and Basketball is kind of in between. I don't think it leads to anything. It's more of a reminiscent. It's like a nostalgia piece, and you're like, oh, I'm 12 again, and I'm watching 101 and Kyla Pratt, right? So, like, I think that's the feeling I get when I watch Love and Basketball. I don't feel like, because I don't hoop, so, like, it doesn't correlate. But what's missing now from this kind of genre of movies?
I think what's missing is just the fact of authentic relationships. Because even though, like, Love and Basketball, that's a whole confliction for me. Because it's like you had to go, like I said, the struggle of you went through all of this. She's over there in France, at Spain, and then you come back. Now you can't play basketball. She's in the WNBA, and now it's like, okay, it came full circle. So it could be either and. Then you had like the Wood, everybody, even the brothers, all of that. You still had some kind of like it's a real love story in there. Movies now, it's almost kind of like it's a love story, but it's really not. It's just so microwave, and I don't know if it's because art is imitating life or life goes and imitates art. Either way, that is the society that we're in. And I was in a group that did like a live panel like this on surviving cuffing season a couple of weeks ago. Like in the 90s, you didn't have stuff like trying to go through cuffing season, putting together your roster, trying to see what it was like, I'm gonna put it out here. This is what I'm gonna do. If it means I got to make the corny mixtape by taping the songs off the radio, whatever I'm gonna do, or like Brown Sugar, how they fell in love with hip hop. And that was what kind of kept them grounded. It was all around that. You don't have that now. It's almost just kind of like, I saw them. They looked nice. They had on the right thing. We had a couple drinks, and it just went this way. It's like it's no real building. Like back to that communication. Back to it's nothing there. So it's like the first time something comes up that is a struggle, that is a problem, it's like, oh, I'm leaving. Oh, I'm done. And it's like, but you didn't even try. Like,
that makes sense. David, what is missing from movies? I think Lady Spencer hit on it. There's no build up, right? Is it really just now life is imitating art? Is that people have given up on love, or do people want to see? People don't want to see love anymore. They want to see, physical action. What's happening?
Well, my movie, well, let me put it this way. Tyler Perry is an excellent writer, but some of his movies are like similarity to each other. When you watch one movie, you don't watch that one already, but actually didn't look at it because it got the same storyline. For example, two of the movies, well, it might be more than that. It's two of the movies that he's written, A Diary of a Mad Black Woman, a woman that was scorned. Then you go to Medea's Family Reunion, a woman was scorned, being beat and by this guy. And it ain't always about the money. Mm-hmm. It's about women being themselves and being independent. And these guys wouldn't let them be that. Okay, the movie Acrimony, I felt like it was a lot. The movie was doing too much because this man, she started off and he was wrong for cheating and stuff like that. But as they started moving forward and all the money was gone, and then she wound up being mad at him because he spent all the money and this project that he had going on never was going to come to fruition. And she like, no, I'm through. I'm finished. Listen to outside people, like her sisters was telling her, leave him and do this and doing that. And this man did all he can do. So once everything, fast forward, once he got everything together and someone actually gave him the money, he didn't settle because they had gave him a check for nothing. So he was like, I'm not going to do this. He go home and tell her, oh, they was going to give me I think it was $80,000, 800,000, something like that. And she talking about something, and you didn't take that money. She still was mad at him. But he knew how much his worth was. One thing, we have to know what our worth is, what we're worth. So as the movie started going along, he finally got this money, made this money, and not only that he made up for the mistakes that he had made over the years. He got her house back.
He did.
Got the deed, gave it back to her. Gave her a check for $10 million. We ain't talking about $10,000. We talking about $10 million. And everything that he did, he went back. So she got mad now. The person that helped him get this money, that's the person he's with now. So now you're resenting him like, that's supposed to be my yacht. That's supposed to be my house. That's supposed to be my ring. And now you this woman that just all scorn now because you think he did this stuff to you. He paid for everything that he have done. She the one that wanted the divorce in the beginning. He didn't even want a divorce. He wanted to stay with her. So this love story to me was retarded because I felt like this. When you get married, it say through sickness and health and forsaking all others, you didn't listen to those vows because you listened to your sisters. Yeah. And even with the wealth part, you doubted him that this thing was not going to work. Right. So the love story part was romantic at the end because he finally went with this woman that actually got him out of stuff that he was in. She brought him to a new standard. She made him, look, I'm going to do this for you. I'm going to do that for that. And he was very grateful. So that's the reason he stayed with her, because she brought him out of the bondage, which the other woman pushed him down, kept pushing him down. Then once he got that wealth, oh, I want to be with you now. So that love story. But like I said, it didn't end right. and some more stuff they could have put with it because we don't know if she died or not at the end.
That's true. It isn't really flushed out.
She was a crazy woman, and she could have came back alive and know how to hold her breath underwater.
Auntie Jackie, Acrimony, the movie of movies that always start an argument. My wife and I went to go see this movie with the elder Jason Jameau and his wife, and let's just say the conversation that followed after that was just hilarious because, of course, as men, we're going to support the guy. I think he was lazy. I think he was trifling in the beginning. The cheating thing, Sharon Kelly's my mom. So if there ain't no ring on it, it don't count. That's just the way, I was raised. So, I'm trying to rub on that, so I don't know if I agree with that. But, he put up with it. He did spend all the money. He was bogus, but he had a dream. He stuck with the dream. He didn't quit on the dream. And then when he got it, she had already filed for the divorce. And then now she's left holding a $10 million check. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, I have to agree with, one thing about it. A woman, even let's go biblical. A wise woman buildeth her home, but a foolish one tears down. If you're going to be with him, you got to believe in him. You got to believe in him. You got to pray. I mean, me personally, I would have been doing backflip with that $10 million, and I'd have been like, peace. I'd have threw the peace sign at him, But, I mean, he had a dream, and marriage is a give and take. You have to compromise. Either you were going to support him or you won't. But one thing that she did, that she allowed her family and all these other inputs to make her make decisions. That's a no-no. That's definitely a no-no. Now, back to what you were saying, Cody, regarding movies. It's all the majority of the movies you can predict. Oh, yeah, they're going to fall in love. The problem is, how do you keep the love in the relationship? Because men are human, women are human. I wonder, what do you do to keep the love in relationships? Now, a lot of times we don't differentiate, we don't dwell on that. We automatically, because people get comfortable. As you get older and you're in a marriage, people have become so lackadaisical in their relationship. So, just comment. But you have to keep the excitement. And I will be married almost 29 years. And you have to keep the love. You have to keep the communication, like Elder David said. And you have to keep the romance in there. Be spontaneous. My thing is, whatever it took to get me is what it's going to take to keep me. So the thing is, it's easy to fall in love.
Right.
Tell us how to say that.
Sense. If it took Moet and Genuine the first time, it's going to take at least Henny and Tank the second time. That's kind of how it works, right? Like, at least Henny and Tank, right?
That's right.
I want to say there, why do you think, or you said something, you said, eyes are going to wonder. So let's talk about that. Let's go a level deeper on that. Why, from movies to church, how come we won't deal with the truth of relationships, right? Like, hear what I'm saying. So this isn't interpreted wrong. That interruption can happen. I'm not talking about cheating. I'm talking about interruption, whatever that means, right? Why is interruption such a topic of phobia and something that we won't address?
Really, a lot of times we don't want to keep it. We want to keep it holy, but we don't want to be platonic. People need you to know that you are human. You made mistakes. If you went out and cheated on your wife and she forgave you, that's it. But a lot of times we want to act like we have no temptation. We want to act like we're perfect. We want to act like, our marriages are hunky-dory. Marriages work. It's what you put in it. I tell my husband, I invested in you. You ain't going that easily. me, well, I invested in you and you ain't going easy. I ain't trying to go. 28 years, I ain't going nowhere. If I go out the front door, I'm coming in the back one. So we have to keep that tenacity, keep that communication, keep the romance, the love. A lot of times we are so bound. The bed is undefiable. Whatever pleases your husband, please him. After you shout hallelujah, you got to go home and be a woman. You got to go home and be a wife. After you done preached all your sermons and all of this in church and directed and did whatever, you still have to go home and be the man of the house.
You need to teach a class called "Go Home and Be."
Yeah, you got to go home. You got to go home. Listen, I don't care what I do. I work or whatever, but I still have to go home. The house has to be clean because I'm a neat freak anyway. He get a hot meal. If my husband gonna work all them hours and provided for the family, he ain't coming home to me looking any kind of way. He's not coming home to a nasty house. None of that. You have the home his castle. If he's the king, you the queen, make that home the castle. So, a lot of times we get so complacent and it's ridiculous. We don't keep ourselves up. We don't even love ourselves. Oh, he ain't going nowhere. He looking all good and he got to look at you, hairnet and hair rollers and looking a mess every day. Nah, believe me, you have to keep up yourself. You have to keep the love in there, and you have to, it's a shame that so many young women, that's why they single, they're not even ready for marriage material. They can't cook, they don't clean. All they care about is their outer appearance. That's not enough.
Not at all.
After all that, he gonna know what are you bringing to the table.
No, that's so true.
See, I still believe in that generation, like my mom taught us. They come from the South. They serve their husband. So I'm the same way. And I tell my daughters now, you got to make sure your husband material. After you look at the outside, what is left? Can you cook? Do you clean? Are you organized? Are you a type of person that'll help a brother? Are you the type will build him up?
Hello.
I ain't saying no couch potato. If he giving you something to work with it.
I like it. What's your cash app so people can know where to sow into your ministry? Because you over here preaching, dog. That's one of the reasons why I married April, because I got everything. And
that's it. All right. That's my baby, my April. I love her.
David, I want to get to you, David. So if you could write a perfect love romantic comedy and you can cast who you would want to be in the film, who would be in that film?
Well, something similar to Tyler Perry. Jackie will have to play Tasha. Because for the simple fact, she don't have no filter. She gonna tell you like it is, and she don't care. At the end of the day, you still gonna be married to her at the end of the day. So, like I said, I'm gonna see. I think I would let my brother play Tyler Perry part, because he's the quiet, don't care-ish type of attitude. Like, he try to keep everything in order and try to do things right and stay in character and stuff like that. So it's certain people certain people have certain personalities. So what parts that they would play. And as far as the love story, as far as me casting people, and it'll have to be people that been examples in front of me. So if they've been an example in front of me as far as couples, let me put it this way. A lot of people I used to hear a lot of people say, I never see you post a lot of things on Facebook about your wife or about certain things about your relationship. Some things you have to keep private. I tell people I don't have to post things on Facebook when it pertaining to my love life with my wife.
Right.
What goes on in my household and in my bedroom is what me and my wife do.
Right.
So a lot of people say, and then you have to you be surprised how many couples put things on Facebook about their spouse, and it's the worst thing. It's the worst thing in their household. They don't respect their wife. They don't respect their husband. They just putting this stuff on there, make it seem like it's peaches and cream.
Mm-hmm.
And being a married couple, there are obstacles. There are situations that we go through every day. Personality changes. Like I said, it's hard to, like I say, I'm not going to put things on Facebook that I know ain't happening in my house right now. So, and we, as being men, we do have wandering eyes, and some women do too. Being honest and being upfront.
Right.
We might be in the mall and it be another woman walk past, and it don't have to be her body. It could just be what she have on. Be like, oh, okay, that's nice and attractive,
Yeah.
But I feel like this, baby, don't get upset because I'm wondering and my eyes are wondering. Remember, I'm with you. I'm going home with you. I married you. So nothing that you have to worry about when it comes to things. And the Bible says, no man is exempt when it comes to temptation. So it's temptation out there. So we don't have to be phony. We're spiritual. We're saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, but we still have that human side.
Hello.
And as far as men, we wonder. Our man wonders more than a woman. We gonna wander off, but don't wander too far where you don't get lost now and you forget what you have at home. So, like I said, my sister-in-law was saying, my sister was saying, my thing is a turn off when it comes to women. When it comes to women, I have a pet peeve. If I'm out, I don't like when my wife wear a bonnet around the house. And you got this bonnet on all night. Okay, you got your hair done and you got your bonnet on to go to sleep. Okay, we're up now. You need to take that bonnet out and shake the whatever that you're going to shake out.
Right.
That's my thing. Ain't nothing like an attractive woman, because sometimes some people get married and they feel like, okay, I got him now. Now I can just do what I want to do and dress how I want to dress. And, even when it comes to my wife or whatever, back in the past, when we first got married, I knew when she was mad at me because she'll put on this grandma outfit with a whole bunch of flowers and stuff. And I'd be like, oh, it's one of them nights. Oh, okay. So what time of the day it is. So,
right.
Yeah, but like I said, we as men, and like I say, women too, but more men than women. I'm giving women their kudos. They wander off, but they don't wander off like we do. So
that's true.
When it comes to respect, it's still respect. Right. If I'm gonna turn and look at her, kind of hurry up and look at her when she walk past, I ain't gonna be still walking and my wife just talking to me and I'm still looking back and she was like, oh, okay, is it like that? Take a peek and keep it moving. Right. So I shouldn't have to defend myself now because, like I said, it's been over 27 years now. So it's like if my wife says something, I'll be like, oh, but look, you're in the car. So I know when my wife is mad at me. And the rest of the other women might do that too. But she'll look out the window the whole time we going home. The whole time. So I look at these things. So, but at the same time, I still respect her. Right. So still respect at the end of the day.
No, that's amazing. That's amazing. I've mastered the look down technique. So like if I see something coming in my way that I know I can't handle, I'll be at the gym, I'll be like this. And nobody even knows. Nobody knows. I'm just staring down at the floor the whole time. Okay. I think I'm in prayer.
You know better.
You're right. Ladies first, I want to get to you. You are besides myself, the millennial on the show. Let's talk about this, right? So the wonder test, it happens. Obviously, we try to limit it to the best of our abilities. But creating that spark, and then what would you like to see in a movie that reflects that fight for love? So a 2-part question for you, and then I know because David said it's football night, it's Monday. I'm gonna hit him with the last question, and then I'm gonna let you guys go. So when it comes to really creating that spark, and then how, if you could create a perfect movie and cast who you would like to cast in it, how would that movie go?
Oh, wow. Okay. Let me answer the second part. The second part, I would do a millennial
Black
version of The Notebook. And the reason I picked The Notebook was because throughout everything that happened, like, they were still trying to come back to each other. Even though she ended up getting married to somebody else, he got shipped off to war. No matter what happened, they were still, their hearts are still tugging towards each other. And if we could get a version of that showing modern day minorities doing that, instead of getting in a position, well, you're not around, so I'm gonna just do what I got to do until I can get to you again, because that's kind of what we're presented with social media and everything. Like, we have so many options and with so many people doing long distance relationships too, you have that ability, like, well, you're not here, and yeah, my heart's committed to you, but I'm still kind of play around and do what I need to do. But to show somebody really being young, committed, and going through that fight of what they need to do to make it work, that would be my perfect movie.
Spark. So the wonder test. Eyes going everywhere.
I just want the spark. I think, and I can only deal with this in my vein. The one thing that causes that, I believe, is that, as Jackie was saying, in church, we're not transparent about these things. Like, they'll tell you growing up, okay, no, you're not supposed to date till you get to a certain age. Don't be in this boy's face. Don't do that. Don't keep your dress down. Do all of that. Okay. And then, okay, but you got to get married because it's better to marry than to burn. Then as soon as you get married, then it switches to, okay, now you got to pop out kids. And you're like, wait a minute. You told me not to do all of this. And now, just because I've stood here and said I do, you want me to switch, but you haven't switched the way I think about it. You haven't switched the way I looked at it. You told me my whole life this was wrong, this was dirty, I shouldn't do this, flee from it, all of that. Now I'm supposed to just turn it on and know how to do this. Like, no, you didn't tell me that. Like, you have to teach us that the way you taught us to stay away from it, even though they really don't teach that to the male population, but we won't go there either.
No, they
no,
don't.
But they don't. Not as much as they do. Yeah. Not as much as they do women. Yeah. Just being honest, they don't. But if you just teach us that, even like if you do like counseling and all of that, that's like one area that is kind of grazed over. They don't put that into it, and it's like, that's what we need, especially in a day where you have so much that's visible. Like, you can, in your phone, you can find some of everything in less than 2 minutes. And you don't even have to be looking for it. It could just pop up, a commercial, anything, a movie, whatever, it pops up. And you have to teach us, like, what do we have to do? Like, don't just say, okay, now it's time. Well, you got to submit to your husband, and you can't go on a fast without okaying it from your husband. You're not supposed to withhold it because now you belong to, like, wait, you just told me all of this about not doing it for like 18, 20 years. And now I'm supposed to switch. And you don't want me to listen to my unsaved friends who are telling me, some of everything to do. Right. So you just have to, be honest with us at this point. Okay, we're here now. We grown. So tell me what it is, how it is, the way it is. Like, I'm not 13 no more. You just give it to me straight so I can know exactly what I need to do.
No, that's beautiful. That's amazing. That's why we need Auntie Jackie to teach the class. Auntie Jackie, I'm commissioning you to teach a class in the convocation called Women Thou Art Loose for Real. I don't know what they teaching. No, I'm joking. No shots fired. I was just joking, Jake. So sue me. Yeah.
No, but seriously, I got you for real, because I don't sugarcoat. I keep it straight, platonic. For real. But one thing that I heard is a difference between wandering and a look. Now, if you wandering, you still wandering, and you got a wife, something is not there. That means she got to step her A game up. You know, if your eyes are still wandering, you know, she got to step her A game up. Now, it's different between a glance and a look. A wandering is a long stare. With wandering comes thoughts in your mind. That's a big difference. You know, comes imagination. So a wonder and a look is, and a glance is in that ball game together. But a wandering, that's not too cool. You better wonder how you gonna get home. You keep wondering. But you know what? Honestly, I like to joke around, but marriage is serious business. You don't, you know, a lot of time people they're not teaching after the wedding. Everybody, oh, this beautiful wedding. 6 months later, you ready to get annulled? That becomes the living then. After the wedding becomes the real marriage. You know, I told somebody, and they didn't understand what I was saying. I said, within 5 years of marriage, you're yet in the growing stage, getting to know your significant other. Well, you can't say that. You can't. Believe me, those are some tough times, because here it is. You lived at home, but you got married. Now you're on your own. You are adjusting to each other. You know, some people say, I'm glad I lived with him before I married him, else we wouldn't have married. I don't know about all that. But during our first 5 years of marriage, we were adjusting to each other. We were getting to know each other because we knew each other from one aspect, but we never lived together. I'll just say this one thing. When my husband and I got married, and you know, him being a man, leaving that toilet seat up, he told me if he forget to let it down, pinch him. For the first year, I pinched him so much he had bruises everywhere. But that was the thing. He forgot that now you're living with a female. You can't leave the toilet seat up.
Right.
You know, just like I'm like, okay, I got a husband now. I can't leave rollers in the bathroom, the curling irons, and the makeup on the sink. We're sharing the bathroom. So a lot of stuff you're learning as you go on. Each year, you learn more and more about your spouse, because people do change in the area of marriage. Sometimes they grow, you know, they become older, our thoughts change. But the thing is, keep getting to know each other. You get to know each other by spending quality time together, sharing intimacy, sharing your thoughts, communicating, like Elder Standberry and Jasmine was saying. You got to keep communicating. Talk. Never, ever go to bed angry. Never, ever go to bed mad, because you never know. My thing was, I would never go to bed mad at my husband, because if he died tomorrow and I was still angry, that thing would bother me the rest of my life. You know, so we have to be careful, but we definitely need to teach women nowadays. You know, we teaching them, all be virtuous women, all be this, but truth be told, you have desires too. Everybody ain't been virtual all their life.
I know I have.
So the thing is, you have to keep that flesh. Tell a single woman that had babies out of wedlock how to keep that under subjection. We don't talk about that. Transparent. Because that's going to bring a lot of people into the spirit when we be transparent. When they see us all shouting stuff, they think like we're perfect. We never had a struggle. But you have to let them know, no, I have not been saved, not been in church. I had issues. I had flaws. And they'll respect you even the more.
That's true. That's true. And definitely we need that. I want to appreciate my guests so much. You guys have been amazing. Look, next week's episode, obviously we got to go and deal with something serious. It's the election time. So I have an election coverage episode dealing with that. I'm getting back to seriousness. I always try to switch up between serious and light. I want to thank my guests. Auntie Jackie, where can they connect with you? What are you doing?
Right now we're at, you can connect with me on Facebook, Jacqueline Standberry, Harris Standberry, my email address. I'm still working with our bus company and other things, so you can connect with me anywhere. I'll find me and I'll find you.
Awesome. That's perfect. David, where can they connect with you, my man?
They can reach me on Facebook under Standberry42 at l.com, or and I actually got a single coming out in the spring, so I have more details coming soon. Yeah, I'm on Facebook and Instagram, so they can reach me whatever way they can reach me. And then if don't ask me to be your friend, just reach out.
Perfect, love it. Ladies, Spencer, where can they connect with you?
Jasmine Spencer on Facebook, Instagram, the Mrs._Spencer. My Instagram links to the Twitter. I can't remember my handle. And then I do have my website, my blog. This is my sweatshirt. Sweatshirt's not on the website yet. The t-shirt is, but I do have a blog, peculiar-royalty.com.
Check it out, guys. Look, connect with these amazing individuals. Follow them, connect with them. Subscribe to the blog, buy the shirt, follow Auntie Jackie. When David drops a single, buy the music. But I appreciate you guys. Until next time, thanks so much.
God bless.
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 Thank you.